I live hands with my life. I stay strong, I stay wise. I live hands with my life. I stay strong, I stay wise. I live hands with my life.
Hello there. I'm Patrice Bryant, and welcome to While We Wait. This is a place of inspiration, motivation, and empowerment. I'm so glad you're here. And if you're in New England like I am, then you have experienced the beautiful but cold snow and probably were inside most of the day, unless you were outside shoveling or having fun in it. But I'm glad you are here today. To all my viewers, thank you. And to my returning viewers, thank you so much. Your support is so appreciated. I would love it if you would like and share this broadcast. And if you would definitely, if you have anything you would like to comment or ask a question, please put it in the comment section and I will work to see it and we can bring it on and talk about it on today. I'm back today with Michelle L. Perry, who is the founder of Successful Diligence, and she's also an amazing book author of The Pebble in My Shoe. And these last few weeks, we have been discussing her book and different topics that will benefit all. Today, we will be talking about how to be your own greatest cheerleader. Many times, many things, even from our past, from our childhood, sometimes children can be mean and, sometimes people can say things that really stick with you for the rest of your life. So it's very important what we allow ourselves to think upon and to get past those things because we really can get stuck. And we want to talk about how to turn that page and be very progressive in our life. So let's get Michelle on, and she's always ready. Hey, Michelle.
Hello. I am so excited to be back. I am so honored to be here and cannot wait for this conversation. It's going to be another good one.
I must say that this has been a blessing. You have been a blessing. And I'm so grateful for your availability and your willingness to come on and to talk with us because when I tell you I'm enjoying this book, I'm reading it slow, as I stated before, because sometimes you just need to stop and work processes out in your head or just figure out how am I going to move forward with this. So again, for those that are just now coming on, we thank you for being here. I'm so excited, and today is a great day. This is a great topic because especially if you're looking to progress and to continue to be a greater you, and there's always more that we can reach for, and your greatness is always calling you, and that sometimes causes the frustration that we feel. Sometimes we don't even know why we feel like we feel, but that's because the way we were created was so magnificent, and greatness is literally calling unto us, and we must satisfy that assignment. So thank you again to the viewers that are here. Remember, if there's anything you want to talk about, asking any questions between myself or Michelle, we will definitely get to it. So I want to, I'm going to pause for a moment because Michelle has some wonderful things coming up that you may be interested in. So Michelle, go ahead.
Yeah, I always aim to bring value, and my mission in life is to encourage and lift up and bring value, really add to people's lives. And so, I've shared in the last broadcast some of the courses, and I gave some of those away. And congratulations again to all the winners. Remember to sign in with your code that you got. But I wanted to make everyone aware of an online conference. It's a one-day event. It's called Tapping into Your Personal Power, and it's all of these topics that we've been talking about, but there's going to be international speakers from Canada, Australia, talking about various topics that will help you learn how to really show up in the world in truth, live aligned with your core values, be brave unapologetically, to show up in the world, be the best version of yourself so that you can impact in the way that you were created to impact according to your purpose. And it's February 6th, 21. And right now, until the end of 2020, tickets are only $25. They're going up January 1st. So I just wanted to make sure that I brought that to the awareness of this audience, because tickets are available for sale. It's early registration for $25, and you get a ton of value. And I gave the link where you can go check out the landing page, check out the keynote speaker, who was the only survivor of the 1999 Swiss canyoning accident in Sweden. The Swiss canyoning in Sweden. So she's amazing. And just the value that you'll get from these speakers are just incredible. So I'll also be speaking as well, but the other speakers are really tremendous. So I just encourage you to check out the landing page, see who they are. If you've got $25 for Christmas, I encourage you to invest in yourself.
Absolutely.
So tap into your personal power. It's one day and it will be recorded as well. So
awesome. And then I also want to just bring up where you can purchase Michelle's book. I will put that up on her book up on the screen a little later, but this is The Pebble in My Shoe. And this is Blessing My Entire Life. It's a very easy read. I mean, it's just clear.
I appreciate that. I wrote it the way I talk. So the beginning is more of a memoir, so it's a little bit more poetic, but I really wanted it to be accessible and practical, because that for me, when I was going through my journey and my process, I needed practical. The concepts were great. The fancy words were great. Beautiful sounding concepts and all of that was wonderful, but I couldn't implement it. And I apologize for the siren you're going to about to hear, but we appreciate our first responders. So stay safe and connected.
Absolutely.
And all of that. But hey, we're in COVID. There you go. But I needed practical. And so when you find a gap in the world and they say this, be the parent you never had, be the best friend that you never had, be the encourager that you didn't have. I didn't have the practical teacher until I went to TCC, but I needed the journey, and I needed the practical implementation of these concepts that are really intricate, because they're psychological, they're emotional, they're spiritual, they're interwebbed, interlined together like a vine, like a grapevine, with the wine press. And so I just wanted to share what I've learned, what I've implemented, what I know and have authority, because I've implemented in my own life in a practical way. And so that's really where the book came from. And I have 5 copies left for signed copies, which you can get at the site that's on there, successfuldiligence.com, and then on Amazon as well.
Awesome. So you can go there and get your book. It will be well worth it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm having a wonderful time with it. Trust me.
Then I've reached my goal. If I can touch one person's life, I've accomplished my mission to bring value to at least one person in life, then I have lived a successful life. So
absolutely. So we're dealing with how to be your greatest cheerleader. And I grabbed that from one part of Michelle's book. She asked the question, what am I telling my subconscious? And there's power in the stories that we tell ourselves, and that can be either negative or positive. And before I brought you on, I was talking about how we can become stagnant because of something that has been said to us in our lives. It could be in our childhood, and we continue to go on, but sometimes it can just
embed into our minds, and
absolutely
we accept it and we believe it because we don't know any better sometimes. And the challenge, sorry, I've been talking all day. Forgive me. Unapologetic, polished is my hashtag. The challenge is to really be aware of what we're thinking, which is the first step, and then understand where it came from, if it belongs to you. I was told a lot of things growing up that were just simply not true. The biggest one, I think, well, not the biggest one, that's not true, but one of the ones I mentioned in the book is that I thought I was stupid for a really long time because I learned differently. And so in school, I was a CDF student. And that was all through high school. It was a miracle I got into college. I did get straight A's in undergraduate college, got into Columbia University. But even when I graduated with my master's from an Ivy League school, I still thought I was stupid. And I remember
Wow.
a conversation I was having in church where I without even knowing what I was saying, I said, yeah, well, but I'm not that smart. And this person looked at me and they said, you just graduated from an Ivy League school. There is no
Exactly.
you're not smart. And that was the light bulb. Someone else had to mirror it back to me to show me that it wasn't true what I was telling myself. That story that I had lived with from elementary school was a lie. And it took that other person to mirror that back for me to have the light bulb and say, oh, well, maybe this isn't true. Is it true? And to start asking myself new questions. And that's really where the process of that particular beliefs came undone.
I want to thank you. You guys people are sharing this broadcast. I want to thank you so much because this is so beneficial, because even though we've grown up and we've moved on, and some are very successful and doing things that we love to do, and we push ourselves to do it, but sometimes that seed that has been planted in us is so real. I've been told by someone I looked up to very much that I would never be anything. And that, I'm saying it very nicely because that's not the words that they use. And it's just like, wow, okay. So you remember these things. So Michelle, let's talk about that. Like, okay, the seed has been planted.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes, like I said, we move on, but sometimes anything that comes anywhere close to sounding like that will cause us to react, even if it's just on the inside. So where does that cheerleader come in, or give us some steps of the process to move past those things that are, that's very, very hurtful.
Yeah. And, for 20 years, I was a clinical social worker in the field of child welfare, which is abuse and neglect. And so I've seen some really dark parts of the human nature, and what people do to children and to each other is incredible in a very negative way. Almost unbelievable in a very negative way, what we do to each other. And you're right, the seeds grow into trees that are planted in our minds because our neural pathways have been repeating these stories, repeating these words over and over until it's embedded in our subconscious, and we just trust it, believe it, it's comfortable. So when someone mirrors that back to us, it's comfortable. It's very challenging to become uncomfortable and start the journey towards health, towards the real true you and the best version of you. And it takes intention and effort, and it requires you to give yourself grace and to learn to like yourself, like we were talking about in the previous broadcast. Because you have to be kind and gentle with yourself on the journey. It's not an overnight process. No. And it takes rewiring your brain, creating new neural pathways with new conversations, new narratives, which is stories that we tell ourselves, attaching new meanings to experiences. So if something negative happened, and it was true, okay, but I can reframe that into a learning opportunity. I can reframe that into a message of purpose that I can bring to someone else. Because when you go through something, you know it, you own it, and then you can share it with authority. And so you can take anything, and I say this now, and people have challenged me, but I can do it. I can turn anything into a positive. Anything. Because all things work together for good, period.
I'm hearing what you're saying. So this makes me think that's why affirmations are so powerful.
Well, you have to believe them though, because I used to put little stickers in the mirror, and they would sound great, but I didn't believe
headed there. Oh yes.
And so those don't work, in my opinion.
Okay.
Now, some people will say, keep saying it, just repeat it. And what I did do is I did listen to positive people speaking, sermons, music, as I went to sleep so that it was playing in my subconscious.
Yes.
So his power in saturating your mind with a new message, with a new narrative, with new ideas, because you don't know what you don't know. So exposing yourself to people who think differently than you, who
Yes.
maybe have a life that looks like a life you think you want, because sometimes you think you want something until you learn what the price is for that, and you're like, oh, I used to idolize wanting to be a mother. I was taking care of kids since I can remember. I'm 3 years old. I have a picture of me helping another child walk. I mean, I was taking care of kids for as long as I can remember. Started babysitting at age 9. Helped raise my cousins who are now, postgraduate 3-4 years, and I always believed that I was going to be a birth kids from my body.
Understood.
My body's not conducive to birthing children. Now, God can he can do what he wants to. So I can't say that, but I don't. My husband he's conquered cancer 3 times. He has cancer, and so I don't think that we're going to be birthing children together.
Okay.
Together. But my point is that I believe that was the path I was supposed to go. And when I raised my cousins and I got the insider view of what motherhood is, I did everything but birth and breastfeed. Everything else I did. 5 o'clock in the morning, all the things. And the process that mothers go through, that's why I honor motherhood so much, because I understand a little bit, not a lot, because I haven't lived it. But when I understood the price that you have to pay, because you lose a part of who you are when you become a mother and you have your heart walking around on the earth. I wasn't at that point in time in my life when I could bear children, I wasn't ready to give up my selfish nature and pay the price for that. And so when I learned that, it was like, oh, well, maybe I don't want that. I've just been told that I'd be such a good mother that I should go down that path. Well, just because you can do something, just because you're good at it, doesn't mean you're supposed to do it.
So true. I want to pause really quick. You were talking about feeding your subconscious, and I concur. I know that works. I was dealing with something a few years ago, and it was very, very painful. And I would put on either like sleep therapy music, or I would put on the Word of God, or I would even put on prayer and just let it play all night. And it's a process, but it does something, because like, we never go to sleep, but we go to sleep, but our mind is still going. And and even if you're working to learn something, that's something else that I do. It could be a song or anything, just to allow it to. Matter of fact, I've even seen that. I've not done it, but I've seen YouTube videos that you can actually learn some languages while you sleep. So maybe I need to do
Especially if you've
that.
known them before. I used to speak Spanish fluently when I was like 3. And so when I'm around people speaking Spanish and I'm saturated with it, it starts to come back, because your brain remembers, your body remembers, your cells remember. And it's funny, because before I gave my life to Christ, I used to play CeCe Winans before I went to bed, just because I liked her voice. And it was the Alone in His Presence album, which was all hymns and the Word of God. I knew that was God drawing me to him in my subconscious, because it was like a year later that I submitted. but you're absolutely right, is that saturating your subconscious as you go to sleep, or just even as you're working, or randomly, it does help to rewire your brain and create those neural pathways.
Yes.
The more you use a neural pathway, the more solidified in your brain it gets, and the ones that you don't pay attention to, those actually dry up and die. So whenever you catch yourself having negative self-talk, like talking to yourself in a negative way, which is different than a story you're telling yourself. So you're talking to yourself negative and you realize that you're aware of it, you're paying attention, using logic can sometimes help, because a lot of people are logical thinkers. And so you logically talk to yourself, maybe not out loud if you're in a group of people, but in your head, Michelle, okay, is this true? Why are you saying this? What is going on here? And have a conversation with yourself logically, and logic will speak stronger than the lie.
I just want to say to Vanessa Ortiz, she's saying that she said, I'm going to do that. And I believe she's talking about to put on whatever she wants to. Yes, saturating the atmosphere. It works. I promise you, it works. So, what do you think about journaling?
Ooh, I talk about journaling in my book, and journaling is a wonderful process to get to know yourself. When I read back my college journals and saw the person I was, I burned those. It was one New Year's Eve. I burned all of those because I said, that is not the person I am anymore. And I don't want any record on the earth of this. So I burned those journals. But journals allow you, number one, to practice the new self-talk and the new stories that you're telling yourself. But it also allows you to have a window into your mind. And it also releases a lot of the emotion and feelings, which helps you to process and move forward. Because you can't, if you don't release it, it stays stuck in your body and your mind and your spirit, and it builds and builds and builds until something triggers it to blow. And so it's like think of like a balloon that's filled with air, and if you slowly let it hiss out, it won't pop in your face. It's the same thing with our emotions and the journey that we have to walk to become our biggest fan. And it really is becoming your biggest fan, getting to know yourself, learning to like yourself, learning to appreciate and value the uniqueness that you were created with is the process of becoming your best fan and celebrating you like nobody else can. You know, when I wrote this book, my husband and I were going through a tough time. There was a week that he did not speak to me, a week. Married couples, I don't recommend you go not speaking for even 24 hours. But this man went a week without speaking to me. So that indicates the level of depth of problem we had. And when I released the book, he designed the cover. So he was still working, you know, doing the cover, but we weren't speaking. When I released the book and had the joy of becoming #1 in 3 countries, I couldn't share that with him because we weren't speaking. And so I had to celebrate that myself, and it was wonderful. And I enjoyed every moment of that process, trust me, because I am my best friend. I am my biggest fan, my biggest encourager. Now he's my second, and we did resolve and come back together, and we're unified. We're doing great now. But you have to be able to stand in self with your God and have that be enough.
Wow. That's a Selah moment. I had to just marinate in it. Oh my goodness.
And the reason I say that is because, and I said this to my husband the night he proposed to me. I said, you can do whatever you want to do. If you don't want to propose or whatever, like because he was having questions, you know, the man, you know, whatever. And I said, I can live in joy with everything taken from me, anything and everything taken me, but just don't take my God. As long as I got Jesus, I'm good. I'm good, because that is my lifeline. And I really meant that to the core. It took me 15 years to get there, 20 years of a journey to get to the place where being by myself, enjoying my own self and life and who God made me, and enjoying my relationship with God. I mean, I could be fine if nobody else was in my life. But because I'm okay with that, what happens is when I live in truth, it generates and emits that to other people to give them permission to do it themselves. Me to walk the journey with them if they want support and encouragement and you know, equipment from me, or to celebrate them. And so it draws the people that are assigned to you because you're finally who you were created to be. You can't be that if you're attaching to other people and other things for fulfillment. You have to be fulfilled as the creation that you were created to be. Original intent. You have to be solid in that. And celebrate
not from the outside. It's got to come from.
It comes from deep within who you are. The core of who you are, the essence of who you are, is where it emits from. And people can't duplicate it. They can't do anything but respect it when you respect yourself, because you cannot enact a standard with other people that you don't have for yourself.
Just had this conversation this morning. Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
can't ask for respect from someone else if I'm not respecting
Cannot.
myself. I can't even ask you to talk to me in certain ways with respect or tone of voice, whatever. If I'm talking mean to myself in my
Yeah.
head and
Hmm.
I'm having negative self-talk and I'm telling stories about myself that are negative and self-sabotaging, I can't ask someone else to encourage me
It's not going to
because
happen.
you can't enforce that. You have to teach people how to treat you, but you teach them by treating yourself that way first.
That's correct, because you create an expectation.
Exactly.
So I
Exactly.
want to ask a question because there's two things. One of them, there sometimes people say things and they don't really believe it, and you touched on that. But I'm speaking more on like false confidence. Like people, you hear people like, well, and I'll use something kind of surface. Well, I know I'm good, or I know I'm fine. They say that to people, but they really don't believe it themselves. And the other thing I want you to touch on is how we stand in our own way.
Mm, mm, mm. Ooh, I lived out there for a long time. I lived in that country for a long time. But one thing about when you say, "Oh, I'm good, I'm fine," people know you're lying. They may not tell you to your face, but they know
Hmm. Hmm.
because people can see through the mask. They can see through the facade. You
True.
think you're putting on a good show. You think you're acting well. You're
Yeah.
not. People see the true you. And what happens is you discredit yourself with other people and with yourself because you know you're lying too.
Hmm.
If
Absolutely.
I'm hurting and I'm sad, I'm hurting and I'm sad, and I allow myself the space to feel that, to process that, to release it, and then move on and
Hmm.
replace it with gratitude, with reframing, with positive self talk. I put a positive me, or not even it can be just an educational meaning sometimes. Sometimes things just hurt, and sometimes, forgive my language, they just suck.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is what it is.
You don't like anything about it, and yeah.
And it takes a minute to get to, oh, well, I guess I'm strong. It takes a minute, but it's okay to tell the truth in any situation. If you're not doing okay,
Yeah.
you're not doing okay. There is support for you, though. Just because you're in a bad place doesn't mean you stay there. The
True.
boat that has the hole in it, it only sinks if you don't move. It only sinks if you don't plug the hole. If you do nothing, yeah, you're going to sink. But if you walk, and I remember last time I said, show up, keep
Yes.
walking, and
Keep
then
walking.
start to implement gratitude. But show up in truth, because that's the only way you're going to move through things. Otherwise, you're just going to be stuck your whole life. And I know adults who are getting into their 70s now who are still dealing with childhood issues that they never got over. And they're so sad and filled with regret because of the choices that they would not allow themselves to make. And it's heartbreaking because they know the truth. And that's why they get into these negative habits and behaviors.
Hmm.
But you don't have to do that. You can choose something different today, no matter where you are.
You absolutely can.
It's a choice. That is your superpower. Choice. And you can
Um,
choose at any moment.
and chapter 11, you talk about confidently trusting yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Trusting
That's
yourself. I trusting yourself is so powerful because no one can disappoint us like we've disappointed ourselves, whether that be we let ourselves down because we didn't stick to the diet, or we said we were going to do something or stop doing something and we did the opposite. So let's talk about that.
You know what the greatest breakdown of relationships is? People say it's communication, and I would argue it's the unmet expectations. And
Unmet
remember,
expectations.
unmet expectations. And the most powerful relationship, I think I said this last time too. The most powerful relationship you'll ever had is with you and your God. The second most powerful relationship you'll ever have is with yourself. And if you continually let yourself down, if you continually lie to yourself, if you continually do things that go against the nature of who you are, because you know who you are in your core, that
Hmm.
unconscious, that prick, that little voice that comes up that won't die. I tried to kill hope, it wouldn't die. Hope kept coming up and saying, no. And eventually I had to submit and listen. But I fought. I mean, I was really a self-sabotage. I was the queen of self-sabotage. And even if you do a little tiny baby step to meet your own expectation, it starts to build and grow. You have to plant your own garden in your mind, in your soul, and in your spirit, and in your life. You have to. Nobody else can do it for you. It's sort of like put on your big girl panties, put on your big boy panties. Hashtag adulting. It just is what it is. You know, some things we have to accept. Time keeps going, whether you believe it or not. Some things are true, whether you believe them or not. So might as well get on board with the truth train and let's do what we can and choose you. Choose you. Nobody else can choose you unless you choose you.
No one else. No one else.
But the trust is a big thing, because trust is not overnight. And it's not a one-time thing either. You know, I don't think I started really trusting myself until I moved to Texas. So we're talking, I was in my 30s before I really, truly trusted me. And even now, there's some things I know I don't trust myself in a certain area. So there's certain people I will not call. There are certain things I will not do. There's certain things I will not watch.
That's real.
Because I know where my mind will go. I know me better than anyone else. So I know where my mind will go. So I guard and protect me, because now I know how valuable I am and I'm worth protecting. I didn't always believe that. But when you learn to like yourself.
How do we get there? You
have to spend time with yourself. There's no way to do it. If you continually distract yourself with other people, other things, you never really know who you really are. You have to spend time with yourself. And one strategy is two strategies I'll give you. One is to sit in silence. So I recently learned about breath work, and it's really just sitting and paying attention to your breathing.
That's like meditation.
It is, except for you don't stop your mind. Like meditation, they tell you to slow your mind down and empty your mind. You don't empty your mind because you want to learn about yourself, right? So if you pay attention to your breathing, though, your physical body, your breathing, how you feel and you're present minded and you're being mindful, which is really just paying attention. What happens is your mind is always going, right? Your mind never stops.
Absolutely.
So when you're quiet and you're paying attention to your physical being and your breathing, you begin to hear what's in your mind. And it's educating you on who you are, because you're hearing the thoughts that come up. You're hearing the self-talk. You're hearing the self-narratives. I was in high school and I tried marijuana. And I was at a party, and I was with someone who I trust, and you all would know, so I'm not going to divulge. But
don't do it.
At the party, and the reason I tried is because I trusted this person. We were friends, and I didn't know anybody else at the party, but I trusted this person I went with. And what happened was, for me, and I only did it that time, but my high was a literal split inside of me. So there was part of me that was stone cold sober. And then there was part of me that was high as a kite. But what was interesting is that I was conscious. So the stone cold sober me was experiencing, it was almost like watching a movie of myself. It was really weird. And I don't recommend it, but you can get the same sort of experience by just paying attention to your breathing and your physical body. Because what will happen is you'll begin to hear your thoughts and how you're talking to yourself. And the stone cold sober me was telling the high me, you see, they're changing the clocks. It's not really that time. Just sit still. Don't give them what they're looking for. So I was educating, I was like coaching myself. And so my whole point of that is that when you get in your body, you begin to hear and understand your mind. And as a man thinketh, so he is, right? What comes forth from your mind is your vision. That's why it's so important to guard your mind. Guard what you look at. Guard what you listen to. Guard who you surround yourself with. Guard what you saturate your mind with.
So important.
You're that valuable, even if you don't believe it yet. Even if you don't believe it yet. So you asked me what the first step was. The first step is to know yourself. You have to know yourself. You have to spend time with yourself. You have to build a relationship with you. And how do you build?
Let me pause you right there because it's so important. Because I just know so many people that. Good afternoon for all of the viewers who are just coming in. Thank you so much. A lot of times with relationships, we get into relationships, but we don't have a relationship with ourselves. So when it doesn't work out, you see people jump from relationship to relationship to relationship, and they never pause to find out, well, okay, maybe it's not working because first of all, you probably don't know what you like, you don't know what you want, you don't know who you are, and no one outside of you is going to make you happy.
And if you're sexually active, you are taking in the DNA of that other person. And so then it gets even more confusing. And speaking from firsthand experience, because I used to be a little ho-ho, thank God for salvation, but you actually incorporate the DNA of the other person that you're with. And so then it becomes confusing because it's like, this is not me, but it is me. And then you get all confused. So that it's toxic. And you don't want to be toxic with yourself. You're too valuable to spread yourself out and to look outside. Look within first, and then what you need, you will know. And then you can choose to accept and reject what is for you, what is good for you and beneficial for you, that will build you up.
Because a lot of times we do what other people do, or it looks like, okay, this is the norm. And let me just say, I want to say hello and thank you to Vanessa, Monique, hey Tara, and to Beverly, to Sandra Rentz, to Cynthia Slaughter, to Regina Taylor. Hi,
we
Rachel.
Appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. I hope you get value from something I say. And
thank you everyone who is tuning in. But yeah, a lot of times, just like, we started out while we wait, dealing with singles. And a lot of times, some people just want to get married because it's the thing to do. Well, when I get this age, I'm going to get married, or,
or you see the movie from other people, but you don't see what's behind the scenes to make the movie.
Oh, so, I mean, in every situation, we are all uniquely created, and our journeys are so different. So you could easily feel bad about a situation because you don't have the life that you think you should have, because you're looking into someone else's window, but you don't know the whole story. So,
and you don't know what's coming down the pike for you that you have to prepare for. You have to be the person that you need to be when your season comes to be able to keep that which belongs to you. Otherwise, you're going to lose it. If you're not the person you are when situations, opportunities will come, you won't be able to hold on to it.
I apologize. My landlord's banging. I apologize. I'm so sorry.
Real life.
This is my world. But yes, we've heard in our ministry who you are now, and the blessing that is for you. By the time you get to your blessing, you are someone totally different. So at every moment we are evolving, and we need to be evolving in the right direction. So,
and while you wait, build that relationship with yourself. Become your best friend.
So important. I can't even be a good friend if I don't know me, if I don't know my triggers, if I don't know when I'm irritable and how to get back on the right side,
or what you have to offer. You may not even know the goodness that you have to offer,
Don't know. Right. What are my strengths? Because there's a reason that we're all here. So what is my assignment that is not for me? My assignment is to bless somebody else. So, I believe our focuses are sometimes incorrect. We focus on the incorrect thing. And we focus on things that would bring us down. But if we really, I've heard a very wise woman say, once you realize why you're here, almost nothing else matters. And you can deal with all of the stuff that seems like it's irritable, like you don't like it. So that's a very powerful statement. So I started saying, okay, I need to find out exactly. I have a glimpse, but I don't know in totality. So
but see, I was scared of it because I know I'm a self-sabotager. So I would tell God, I would say, don't tell me, just what do I do right now? What's the next step? Because I couldn't know the whole thing because it overwhelmed me.
Yeah.
And I know myself, and if I had fear, you can't walk in victory and walk in fear. Fear and love cannot occupy the same space at the same time. So for me, I had to learn to be present
Yes.
and understand what is my next step, because I can handle that. What is my next choice? Is this attitude? Is this mindset? Is this
Mhm.
conversation I'm having with myself beneficial for me, or is it bringing me down? Like when I was told that everything God made is good, and how dare you call what He made not good?
Mhm.
Even though I didn't believe I was good, I could not deny the truth of that statement. And so I had to retell myself every day, like you said, saturate your mind. Even though I didn't believe it,
Mhm.
I had to tell myself and find evidence to back it up for me. I had to
Yes.
find the evidence, because for me, if you tell me to say an affirmation and it's not true, I'm not gonna. It's because it's not true. I have to believe it, right? There has to be evidence, logical evidence that shows me. So, for example, with the smart thing, right? When I believed to my core that I was stupid, it wasn't that I was stupid. I just learned differently
Mhm.
people. I just came from a different perspective, and the evidence that I was smart was these degrees on the wall. That was the journey I had to take. For some
Mhm.
people, that may be your child repeats back to you something you've taught them, and you're like, "Wow, you got that from me? Okay,
Mhm.
I must have something to offer then."
Absolutely. And
Evidence.
you know what? And it's those little things that are so rewarding. And I think we bypass them. But even in not disappointing yourself, or when you do something that you've been working on for yourself, not a material thing, um, that is, you get such gratitude, or just doing what's right. I started thriving off of not being perfect, but you know, how much can I accomplish, or in a day, am I productive? Just those types of things. In my discipline, in my music. Okay, am I practicing enough? Am I sitting still enough and doing what I need to do in that area, in different areas? That brings about a great gratitude and fulfillment, and then you do start feeling very good about yourself.
Because there's evidence to back it up.
Evidence.
When you don't make the phone call to that person you know is not good for you, you may want to with every cell in your being,
Okay.
but you don't make that call. That's a victory. That's a win. Michelle, you did something good for yourself by not making
Absolutely.
that phone call, or not eating that whole box of ice cream. I got 2 boxes of ice cream in the freezer. This is a true story. My husband loves ice cream, right? So I buy, and God forbid I go into his box, right? So I buy him a box, I buy me a box.
Hmm.
His box is halfway done. My box is not open yet. And for me, that's a small win of victory for me, because I
Absolutely.
know that eating ice cream every day is not healthy for me.
It is
And
not
I'm
serving you.
choosing every day to put health into my body. And
Yes.
so something as small as that is building my trust that I can eat a nutritious, healthy lifestyle and take care of the body that
Hmm.
I want. I don't have it yet, but I know how to get it. And
Yes,
so every day
absolutely.
that I take an effort, an intention, a purposeful action towards that, I celebrate myself for that. And that builds trust that I can do it tomorrow.
Absolutely. So we have about like less than 3 minutes.
Oh, the time.
So it is flying. So just real quickly, we're just going to touch on self-care. You stated in your book that self-care is not a one-time thing.
And it's not what you think it is either.
Tell us about
Self-care,
that.
and this is probably a whole nother, I'll have to come back, but
You'll
self-care
be back.
self-care is the care of self. So it's not just taking care of the outside, it's
Hmm.
really taking care of the whole person, mentally, physically, spiritually, physically, holistically, taking
All of us.
a whole person approach,
Yes.
because you have to understand what is self. Who am I? What is
Hmm.
myself? Then you have to take care of yourself. That is self-care. And that includes boundaries. That includes eating right, hydrating, all of the mani-pedis, all the things we think about, rest. But it also includes boundaries and setting the correct expectations and
I want to
gratitude.
I want to add to that, because sometimes we don't think about it, but if you know your own personal triggers, or Yeah, I'll leave it like that. You will deal with people that you know would want to push those buttons. You would deal with them a little differently. Uh, in some cases, you might need to, if you're able to, you may need to stay away from them, or you may need to practice your responses. Because sometimes we want to rip people's head off with our tongue, but what you can do is practice your responses so that you're not going to say something that you can't take back. That's something that
Absolutely.
I have work to do. I will shake my head and walk away first, because I don't want to. I can apologize, but it's already come out of my mouth.
And you can't take it back.
But if we put ourselves in situations, we have to guard our heart, and I think that's a part of self-care as well.
We have to guard everything. You have to guard your mind, your heart, your body.
Exactly.
This is something I have to say, and I think I mentioned it before we came on in the green room. When I was at work, 2015 was a really hard year for me. And what I would do is I would stay late and overwork myself to set myself up for success.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the phrase of 2015 for me. Set yourself up for success. Well, you have to do that in your personal life as well, and for yourself as well. When you sow to yourself in righteousness, you reap in mercy. When you set yourself up for success, if you know your triggers, if you know a certain person is going to make you say such and such, walk the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Set yourself up for success.
Yes.
Put in place certain things that you know will stop you until you can stop yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that's almost our time. What I want to do is just go back here, and I'm flying solo backstage here. So
you're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you. I want to pull up Michelle's book again, The Pebble in My Shoe, Take Back Your Power and Live in a Better Way. This book is really, I have it. I have a signed copy. And I'm so happy about that. Yay.
Oh, there she goes. And I do send goodies with the signed copies. I only have 5 left. So
you absolutely did. I haven't opened them up yet, but thank you very much for that. So this is, and thank you again. I see Rodney. Thank you, Perry. Perry was on. Brenda is on. Kenyetta is on. Thank you to all of the viewers. Next week is a holiday. I'm going to come on and do a greeting. I don't believe it's going to be a full session. It's Christmas Eve. Well, it might. I don't know, because it's not like I'm going to be out going from store to store with Sister COVID. But anyway, Michelle will be back with us in January. She may be on with me next week. I have to check her schedule.
Who knows what will happen? You have to tune in. That's why you got to show up every week. Show up. Keep
tune in. And I want to encourage you next week, because next week I would like to. Michelle has inspired me to do gifting, so I will have 4 gift cards for 4 people to win on next week. So I'll definitely come on to do that. That's next Thursday, which is Christmas Eve. So come back on, because you might be the winner.
And I'll throw in, for whoever wins the gift card, they can get my gratitude course for free.
Awesome. So tell us real quick about your gratitude course for those that were not on before.
It's a short online mini course. You have access to it for as long as I'm alive on any your tablet, your phone, your computer, and it's all about gratitude, but it's about how to implement gratitude. Like I said earlier, the practical implementation of gratitude. You get a workbook, you get a meditation that you can listen to that can help you saturate to get present minded. It's a beautiful little course. So I will gift that for free for whoever wins those gift cards.
So Brenda is saying that she is downloading your book from Amazon right now. Yay!
Oh, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much. If you would leave a review, that would help me know what you thought about the book, and help. It would encourage me to be it's selfish. It would encourage me to know that I'm having an impact.
I will do mine. It was that kind of day today. So I saw the email come. I do want to say again, thank you. Just so you will know, Michelle, Monique is saying thank you so very much. It's refreshing to have joined this powerful group. Bev is saying great session. Oh, Monique is saying I'm grabbing the book as well. Hey,
awesome. Thank you so much, Monique. Thank you. Oh, you guys are awesome.
Vanessa says wonderful conversation, ladies. I'm running to go get that book. Awesome.
You're
Okay.
encouraging my little heart. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Guys, I have to tell you that this book is really helping me, and it's principled. It coincides with everything that I know and am connected to. And sometimes you just need to hear it again. And it's a very, very easy read. So I want to say to Michelle, thank you for being such a great asset too while we wait. This is this is God ordained, because I thought I was going to talk to unmarried women, and this thing was rerouted. So it is
Your
my
purpose
desire.
is greater than you even know. And I'm just so honored to be a part of it, because this is just the beginning, and the foundation is so solid that
Yeah,
it has nowhere to go but just up and out. And everybody who needs to tune in, tell your friends, share it.
please,
Tune in
please.
next week, because it only gets better. You can go back and watch, and you can see how every episode is getting better and better and better. Even from before I even came on, the episodes were amazing. The people that were on talking about branding, and I mean, it was just
Yes,
incredible
absolutely,
conversations that will bless
absolutely.
your life, enhance you, and help you become the best version of you.
I believe, if with sharing and just being able to touch people. I'm a promoter by nature, but I always want to share great information. So I want to say thank you to everyone that's on. And yes, please tell your friends, your family. You can do it on YouTube, and of course Facebook on my page, Patrice Bryant, or While We Wait. And please let us know what you think about the program. 'Cause that, like Michelle says, it encourages me. And also, if there are topics that you're interested in, I will certainly find someone that will. I'll find someone to bring them on, and we can have a discussion about that. So,
Yeah, it's all about
Michelle,
serving you. What do you tell us what you need? Tell us, write it in the comments, even if it's hashtag replay, because the whole purpose is to serve you, and to give what we have to give. And
mhm,
then the ripple goes out, and who knows who you can impact. So
absolutely, absolutely, Michelle.
I
Thank
gotta go.
you. I love you. I love you. Thank you so much, Michelle. And we will talk in a little bit.
Bye, everyone.
So thank you again to all of the viewers that stopped in. Please share. Go back and look at, as Michelle was saying, go back and look at the other discussions. The personal branding was very, very powerful, and everything in between. That one just kind of stands out because a lot of times people don't understand exactly how you are being branded, whether you think you are or not. So please go back. Again, you can go back on my YouTube page, which is under my name, Patrice Bryant, and just look for While We Wait. You'll see the different segments. And I'm so glad you're here. I will be here next week for a little bit, so come on time, 4:30. I won't stay long. I just want to do those the gifting, and we'll go from there. But listen, in January, we'll be doing a series called Power Up, Jumpstarting 2021. And the first Thursday in January, I have a lady coming. Her name is Lisa. Oh boy, I can't get it right now. So I'm not gonna mess it up. I had it in my head. Zaratni. There you go. And she's coming to talk about emotional clutter, removing emotional clutter. As you see, we're dealing with the mind here. But again, While We Wait is about inspiration, motivation, and empowerment. So you don't want to miss January 7th, the first Thursday in 2021, getting rid of that emotional clutter. Because we want to think right and be super and be all that we were created to be. Tara, thank you so much. Bev, thank you so much. Guys, have a very, very, very wonderful holiday. I will be back next Thursday at 4:30 briefly, just to greet you for the holidays and to do my giftings. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great evening. Stay safe, stay warm, be wise, be strong, and keep empowering your life. Keep enhancing your life. Thank you all so much again for being here. Bye-bye now.
Wise. I let hands I stay strong. I stay wise. I let hands